And that breaking news is out of downtown Baltimore tonight, where a pedestrian is in serious condition after being struck by a vehicle. And police say it may have been intentional.
It happened around 3 o'clock right outside the district court building on East Fayette Street. 11 News reporter Karen Campbell is live at the scene with the latest. Karen.
Well, this is what we know so far. As you all mentioned, this happened around 3 o'clock and East Fayette and Gay. This is the area that police have blocked off because they are still trying to investigate exactly what happened. Now, you're looking at a white minivan that ran into another vehicle. Now, police say the driver of that minivan, that is the vehicle that hit that pedestrian. We know that that man that was hit was 52 years old. He was taken to a hospital in serious condition. The driver of the other vehicle just happened to be in the area at the time. Now, it is unclear the status of that driver. Now, again, this happened right outside of the district courthouse, and we spoke with police earlier today, and they had this to say about their investigation.
There are two vehicles behind me that were involved. The second vehicle, a car, wasn't the intended target of this, but it appears that the two individuals involved in this are known acquaintances who had just left the courthouse. They were there for another matter, and apparently right now, according to witnesses, the driver of the van struck the pedestrian.
Students from around the nation are preparing for a very historic day tomorrow.
Yeah, organizers of the March for Our Lives rally are expecting at least 500,000 people in Washington, D.C. Students from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida are spearheading the pro-gun control event. Aixa Diaz is live in our nation's capital tonight. And Aixa, I understand some of those high schoolers met with lawmakers today. Is that right?
That's right, Stan. And Parkland students visited Capitol Hill ahead of this big march tomorrow. They're hoping that's going to be a turning point in the gun control debate. The stage is nearly set for Saturday's March for Our Lives, just steps from the Capitol building.
For us to get our voices heard because we can't vote, so this is our main way.
Students are demanding change after a gunman killed 17 people at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida last month.
Just the fact that we are younger than 18 or 18, or we're a lot younger than our policymakers, does not mean that our argument is any less valid.
Parkland students are leading tomorrow's march on Pennsylvania Avenue. Some met with lawmakers today to discuss gun control measures, including a ban on assault weapons.
Assault rifles, they're meant to hunt people, and we don't need that because people were hunted down the hallways of my school, and that's not okay.
Their hope gives me hope.
Organizers say the march isn't the culmination, but rather the beginning of a movement. Young people across the country are planning sister marches in their cities to show support and say never again.
Gun violence is something that impacts our lives, and that we're no longer going to wait for adults to take action.
And international cities are also taking part. London, Tel Aviv, and Tokyo are standing and marching in solidarity with Parkland. Live in Washington, Aixa Diaz, WBAL TV11 News.
Aixa, thank you very much. Now, if you can't make it to Washington, D.C., you can still participate. There will be a rally in Annapolis, and one is taking place right here in Baltimore. 11 News I-Team reporter Lisa Robinson is at Poly High School tonight in North Baltimore to tell us how. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, students here at Poly have been working tirelessly to put this together, and their march is going to get started at 10 tomorrow. While young people descend on Washington, D.C., some here in Baltimore are making it a point to rally at home. Poly freshman Anna Hilger has done a lot of the legwork, starting with getting the permits.
I've gone there on 4 separate occasions to get this permit. It's been an ordeal.
She's been responding to the group's social media and Facebook page, March of Our Lives, Baltimore. Hilger says the event starts at 10.
In front of City Hall, we're going to be rallying, or we'll have speakers there and rally for around 45 to 50 minutes. That's what we're shooting for. Then we will take to the streets of Baltimore. We'll go down Commerce Street, then to the Inner Harbor in the trolley lane.
Hilger and other student organizers say they are working with the momentum they gained after the March 14th walkouts.
The Baltimore City chapter of this movement almost it sort of gained its voice, and we sort of established that foothold in the media that's now allowing us to go forward with bigger things like the march.
These students say they needed to march in Baltimore because in this city, gun violence is not just a school issue.
We're losing our neighbors, our cousins, our family members. It's not just about our classmates. It's also about, us personally, our families.
In a city that has such a high homicide rate, especially with guns and firearms, we feel that it was important for Baltimore to be heard so that we can sort of remind people that gun violence takes many forms and show that we're not just sort of marching against in school shootings, that we're also concerned about just like young men and women that are dying on the streets because of homicides.
Now, those buses that the mayor is providing will be leaving at 9:45 from various locations throughout the city. If you would like to get more information on where those are, also, you need to register to be riding on one of those buses. So to get more information on that, go to our website, WBALTV.com, or visit our mobile app. Reporting live in North Baltimore, Lisa Robinson, WBAL TV11 News.
All right, Lisa, thank you. Well, heartbreaking news from the family of one of the teenage victims of the shooting at St. Mary's County High School on Tuesday. Jalen Willie has died after she was taken off life support. Jalen Willie was just 16 years old, the second of 9 children. Her parents say she helped care for her younger brothers and sisters. Jalen was a member of the swim team at Great Mills High School. The sheriff's office says 17-year-old Austin Rollins, Jalen's ex-boyfriend, shot her at school on Tuesday. He also died. Another student, Desmond Barnes, was injured, and right now a prayer vigil is being held for the family until 7 p.m. at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. Tonight, we take a closer look at teen relationship violence with help from the House of Ruth Maryland. According to that agency, there has been an increase across the country, and it's becoming an epidemic. I-Team reporter Barry Sims joins us live in the newsroom with that story. Barry?
Deborah, that increase is causing new concern. The House of Ruth says that 1 in 3 teens will become a victim of physical violence at the hands of a partner. Following the death of 16-year-old Jalen Willie, the staff at the House of Ruth Maryland find themselves again expressing sorrow and frustration.
What's difficult about cases like the one we're just seeing on the news right now is the stark realization that victims are not responsible for the abuse that happens to them, and in many cases they're unable to stop it.
Investigators say Willie had been involved in a relationship with 17-year-old Austin Rollins that had recently ended. The House of Ruth says 1 in 3 teens will become victim of physical violence at the hands of a partner.
People don't appreciate that this is about control. This is about a sense of entitlement. This is about a sense of ownership. This isn't just somebody who's upset about losing a relationship. This is somebody who's upset that they've lost a relationship and feels they get to punish the other person for not wanting to be with them.
There are warning signs.
We need to be talking about jealousy. We need to be talking about controlling behaviors. We need to talk about how do you respect someone else's individuality and autonomy if they choose not to be in a relationship with you.
And when there are breakups,
teens need our support through that. And so a lot of our attention often turns to teaching people how to protect themselves from violence. We really need to be kind of focused on how do we teach people not to be violent in the first place.
Now, the House of Ruth offers programs for both victims and abusers. You can find that information on the WBAL TV website and our mobile app. Reporting live from the newsroom, Barry Sims, WBAL TV 11 News.
All right, Barry, thank you. A fast food restaurant in downtown Baltimore had to be evacuated during lunchtime because of a fire. It happened right around midday when smoke began billowing from the Burger King on East Fayette Street. Fire crews quickly put out the fire. No one was injured, and the fire is under investigation. Baltimore County Police are asking for the public's help tonight to help catch 3 suspects in a pizza delivery carjacking and robbery earlier this month in White Marsh. Investigators say on March 3rd, the 3 suspects held a pizza delivery driver at gunpoint and stole cash, his cell phone, and his wallet. This happened along the 5600 block of Whitby Road. The suspect with the gun took the victim's car, which was later found, and surveillance video recorded these images of 2 of the 3 suspects when they tried to use the victim's credit cards. If you think you know who they might be, you're urged to call police.
The man accused of shooting a man inside the Ellicott City Walmart is heading to prison. 20-year-old DeAndre Eason pleaded guilty to attempted second-degree murder in that shooting in October. Police say Eason got into an argument with 23-year-old Matthew Spencer inside the store and shot him in the face. Prosecutors say Spencer then left the store and returned with a gun, firing 9 shots at the store. Eason was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Howard County Police have found the body of the New Jersey man who went missing last summer. Officials say on August 6, 28-year-old David Smith disappeared after he traveled from New Jersey to visit an acquaintance. 6 days later, his family reported him missing. Investigators say hikers found Smith's remains in Green Ridge State Forest in Flintstone in late February. At this time, officials have not determined a cause of death.
Well, President Trump reluctantly signed the massive omnibus spending bill today, but he blasted Congress for passing the legislation in the first place. The president said he looked seriously into vetoing the $1.3 trillion bill and threatened as much on Twitter this morning. He cited concerns about a lack of action on the DACA program and insufficient funds for the border wall. But in the end, the president said the need for military spending gave him no choice but to sign it.
Today marks the 8th anniversary of the Affordable Care Act. Elected officials, health advocates, and consumers gathered at Lawyers Mall to call for continued action. Maryland is in a position to fill the gap in health care coverage created by Congress, and one bill making its way through the General Assembly creates a reinsurance program. The state would charge insurance companies an amount equal to a tax break they received in the federal tax bill. That money would be used to keep health insurance premiums down. The state would also help insurers pay for very high-cost patients. Another solution would charge the uninsured a fee on their tax returns. They could either pay the $750 fine or use it as a down payment to purchase health insurance.
We want you to actually use those dollars to buy health insurance for you and your family. So it's innovative, it's unique in the nation. I think it takes some components of the Affordable Care Act, but goes one step further.
But that bill remains stuck in a Senate committee. Advocates warn waiting to act means another open enrollment period would pass without a mechanism to help people afford health insurance.
Still ahead on 11 News at 6, a potential trade war between the U.S. and China.
And now there are some fears that it could have an impact on Maryland's economy. Lowell?
The Port of Baltimore is one of the busiest ports in the world, and according to new tariffs that the president is proposing, it could affect business here in more than one way. I'm Lowell Melser. I'll explain straight ahead.
The biggest star of this year's NCAA tournament hasn't taken a single shot, but you can't help but think she has a hand in the outcome of the Cinderella story. Much more on that later in sports.
Chillier than normal temperatures, plus a few more sprinkles and possibly flurries over the weekend. The forecast is straight ahead.